Good morning, everybody. Welcome to University of Liverpool, first and foremost, and welcome to the accommodation presentation. Despite the information up on the screen, my name is Sean Chappell. I'm one of the accommodation officers here at the University of Liverpool. So I'm part of the team that's going to be taking you through the next sort of 18 months with your applications for accommodation, your offers of accommodation, and then moving in once your place is confirmed in September. So today I'm just going to be talking to you about the accommodation we have here at the University of Liverpool, whereabouts in the city it is, what types of accommodation we have and what you can expect from your time here, and the processes of applying for accommodation and then your offers as well. When you come to the university, obviously you get a chance to be part of the huge student community with all the different universities in Liverpool, but it goes much further than that as well. You get a chance to be part of the whole community of the city of Liverpool. It's a fabulous atmosphere, it's a fabulous place to be, a fabulous place to visit. I certainly enjoyed my time here at university, so much so that I stayed on, and I'm sure you will do too. So what accommodation do we have? So at the university we have halls over 3 different locations. So we've got the 2 off-campus student villages in the south of Liverpool. So they're based just about 3 miles away from the main campus. And we have 6 halls out there in total. So we've got the 5 undergraduate halls at Carnatic, and then the 1 undergraduate hall at Greenbank, which is Roscoe and Gladstone, and the other hall, Derby and Rathbone, is currently undergoing refurbishment, so won't be open for the next couple of years. Then we've got our campus residences, so we've got Melville Grove and Tudor Close. Now these make up our study abroad village, so if you any time throughout your career at university, you're going to be going on an exchange programme or you're going away for a semester, there's still a chance for when you're here, for that's 1 semester when you're at the university, that you can stay in university accommodation. We've also got Vine Court, which holds undergraduates and postgraduates, and Vine Court was opened in September 2012, so it's still a reasonably new hall, and we've had our first couple of years of students in, to which we've had great feedback so far. We've also got Dover Court, which is brand new for September 2014, so it's opening in a couple of months. And that's going to be for returning undergraduates and for postgraduate students as well. So if at any time during your 2nd and 3rd year you want to stay in university accommodation rather than private accommodation, then you've got that option to apply for a room in Dover Court. And we've also got Crown Place, which I'm sure you've seen is being built just outside here. So it's slap bang in the middle of campus, and that's about 1,200 student rooms, all for first year undergraduates. It's not just a bed to sleep in and a roof over your head. We like to think the experience for you goes much further than that. With so many things to get involved in at the halls, you've got hall sports teams, you've got the university sports teams on a bit more of a competitive level. You've got plenty of activities to get involved in with the likes of the hall student committee and the student bars in and around the halls as well. But the best thing about our accommodation is you. It's not there's as much as we can do and as much as we can give you. You really make the accommodation and you make your time in the accommodation the best it can be. As I mentioned, with the hall student committees, so when you move into our accommodation, you get the chance to put yourself up for election so that you can go onto the hall student committee. You'll be then part of a team who gets a budget for your hall, and throughout the year you can organise different social events, different parties, different trips away. One year we had a team that decided they were going to get a Domino's pizza for everyone in the hall. So, the possibilities are endless and it really is up to you. We like to give you the power to decide what you want to do with that money. Because as I say, you're the best ones, you know how to have fun and you know how you're going to enjoy yourselves. And that's shown with the quotes from our current students. So what do our current students say about our accommodation? Obviously, I can tell you everything I can tell you about how fabulous the accommodation is, but what really matters is the people who've stayed in there and the people who are currently in there at the moment. We have people coming and making friends for life, people feeling really safe and at home, which really sort of is a valuable part of coming away to university. You don't want to come to university accommodation and be worried about the security of your accommodation. People leaving halls with great memories. I think, to be fair, wherever you go for your first year, you're going to come away with some of the best memories of your life from first year at university. Other students have seen other student halls, maybe at different universities or other halls in Liverpool and different private halls, but they don't quite have the same community feel or don't get quite the enjoyment that you get from university accommodation. So where are our halls? As I mentioned, we've got the 2 off-campus student villages in the south of Liverpool. But first of all, if you have a look on the left-hand side of the map, the small cluster of halls is where the main campus is. So you can see Prospect Point, which is one of the private halls that's based around campus. And then you can see the small cluster, so we've got Mulberry Court, Melville Grove, Vine Court, and then Philharmonic Court, which is actually undergoing refurbishment at the moment and will be opening in September 2015. If you go along the right on the map, you can see Smithdown Road in the middle there, and you can see all the different blue dots around the maps. Now, that's just an indication of where a lot of the private housing is in Liverpool. So in second and third year, what a lot of students tend to do is go into private housing, obviously you've decided who you want to live with in first year, and then you go out and find your own house with those students in second year and third year. So as you can see, Smithdown Road is close to Carnatic and Greenbank student villages. So one of the positives about being off campus is that you're right in the midst of a really popular student area. So you get an idea of the local area, you get an idea of where's good, where you want to live, and you get that experience of being there already in your first year. As you can see, the local area is quite green as well. We've got the likes of Seston Park, we've got Princess Park and Greenbank Park, all really close by to the halls, and it offers something a little bit different than what you'd get in the city centre or in city centre campuses. You know, obviously in a city centre everything's quite densely populated with buildings, and it can be quite overwhelming at times, but the great thing about having the off-campus halls is the greener areas for students to go, have a bit of a time out and enjoy a different part of the city. And as you can see, where the red pin is in the top right-hand corner, that's the University Sports Grounds, Wincote. So if you're involved in any team sports, any outdoor sports, likes of rugby, union or league, football, hockey, lacrosse, anything like that, that's where you'll be based to do those sports. So again, the student villages provide a great access point for those. As I mentioned, it is a lot greener at our student villages. This is an example. This is Greenbank Student Village. So as you can see, there's fielded areas, and it's the same at Carnatic as well. So you've got nice green areas, and they're just for students. So you've got that sort of secluded private area just for you and your friends to enjoy. For anything from studying like our enthusiastic, well-behaved students on the grass there, or you can have a barbecue outside, have a kickabout with your mates, do anything that you want outside basically, just have a little bit of a time out, and as I say, something that you don't necessarily get the chance to do in city centre halls. And the location of the halls as well, it's not just popular with students, it's popular for the whole city. Penny Lane, for example, obviously I'm sure you're all aware of the famous Beatles song. I won't sing it now to save your ears. But it's right opposite Greenbank Student Village. So, you know, there's just an example. There's loads of things going on in the local area. A lot of people get the impression that because they're not in the city centre, you know, you're not where everything's going on, you're not where everything's happening. But that's not the case. It's a great location. It's a really popular location. You've got the likes of Sefton Park, as I mentioned before. There's loads of events going on there throughout the year. You've got the marathons and the half marathons going through there, fun runs. You've got food and drink festivals. You've got all sorts of things happening. You've got Lark Lane as well, which is just on the other side of Sefton Park to where the halls are. And again, it's just a little bit of a different area. There's something a little bit different that you don't necessarily get to experience if you're in the city centre. It just broadens your experience of Liverpool, really. So there is loads going on out there. And as I've briefly mentioned as well, we are investing in your future at the moment. Obviously, we've had feedback from students about what accommodation they want to see at the University of Liverpool, and we've listened to them, and now those changes can really start to be seen. As I said, Crown Place, just outside here, that's opening in September, and that's the biggest hall we're going to have. It's about 1,200 student rooms, all self-catered, it's all en suite, and it's all for first-year undergraduates as well. So that's really going to change the dynamics of the campus. It's bringing more students on campus than we've ever had before, so it's a really exciting time, especially time with the opening of the newly refurbished Student Guild as well. And as I mentioned, Dover Court, which is brand new for September and will be for returning undergraduates and postgraduates. So the recent projects we've had, as I mentioned, Vine Court opened in 2012, so that's a couple of years old now, and then we had Tudor Close, which was refurbished and then opened in September 2013. So there's loads going on at the university. Sometimes it looks like a bit of a building site, but it's because we're ploughing money into the student experience and listening to students and answering the feedback for them. So the types of accommodation we have, you can either go catered or self-catered as a first year. So catered means that you'll be getting your breakfast and evening meals 7 days a week. And that's all provided for you in the restaurant on site at your hall. So if you're at Greenbank, you've got your own restaurant there. At Carnatic, you've got your own restaurant. And then the other hall which we offer catered in is Vine Court, and that's on campus, and there's a restaurant within that hall there. So everything's easily accessible for you, and everything's right on your doorstep. The benefits of that, it's part of the traditional experience we provide at the halls. As I mentioned earlier, it's not just a room that we provide, it's not just a roof over your head. It goes a lot further than that, and part of that is taking the pressure off in terms of you don't have to go shopping for your food, you don't have to worry about cooking it. It broadens your horizons as well. When I stayed in university accommodation at Liverpool, I was a really fussy eater before I came in first year. But by going catered, what it meant for me was that because I didn't have to think about buying things or how I was going to cook it, it opened the door for a lot more foods for me. So although people are a bit worried because they might not necessarily like a huge range of food, you know, going catered, there's so many options for you that there's generally something that you'll always like. And it does open the door, as I say, to trying new things. And the best thing about going catered is you don't have to worry about any of the washing up. That's all taken care of. Don't make you come into the kitchen and do that as well. It's a great way to meet people as well. Obviously, from the first day when you move into halls, you're thrown into that situation where to go and get your tea, you need to go over to the restaurant. You'll be going with a big group of friends off your corridor, and it'll be the same throughout the year. Then you're always going in a big group. If you're not, then you can go and meet people in the queue for dinner or on the tables. It really is a great way to it's a great icebreaker. From straight away, you're having a sit-down meal with people, and it's a really good way to get to know everyone. There's a bar on site as well, so at Carnatic Student Village we've got a bar, and on campus we've got the Student Guild, which is just reopening, and plenty of pubs dotted around. So again, the social side of things is really good at the halls. So self-catered accommodation, all of that is on campus now. So it's mainly at Crown Place, and then we've got a small amount of it available at Vine Court as well. It provides a more flexible way of living, so obviously if you're going catered, then there will be meal times that you'll be restricted to, and there will be choices that you are restricted to. And although there's plenty of choice available, obviously every now and then there's going to be something that you're not so keen on. So by offering self-catered as well, it gives the students a chance to be a bit more flexible. We find that it's sometimes maybe more suitable for mature students or students who've maybe lived away from home or used to budgeting the money for food and going out shopping every week. But you get the same benefits across all our halls. So the traditional experience continues through with the pastoral support network that we have for students. So we have a team of residential advisors and wardens based in all the halls. Now the residential advisors are mature students and postgraduate students who have been through everything themselves before, and they're living in the halls as sort of a first point of contact for first year students to be able to contact if there's any problems at all, whether it can be anything from you're locked out your room and you need to get in and it's after office hours, or you're a little bit homesick, or you're a little bit worried about certain things. You can speak to the residential advisors, and if they can't help, they'll point you in the direction of someone that will. So they come into effect, as I say, after office hours, and then they're available all through the night then. So you've got support there available for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they are competitively priced as well, and the price might be a little bit more than some other places that you see, but when you think about all the opportunities that we provide for you at the halls, all the discounted trips, all the halls committees and things like that, and the support network, they are really competitively priced. So in terms of when you're in the accommodation, obviously first things first, you'll be moving in, and then we've got the Welcome Week events. Now these are basically our chance to bombard you with as much information as possible and give you as many freebies as possible. You'll get loads of free pens, loads of frisbees, bizarrely, and you'll never have to go to a stationery shop ever again. At these Welcome Week events, it's basically a chance for all the departments from the university to come to the halls, to introduce themselves to you, get their faces known and get the services known as well. Because obviously I think there's sometimes a perception that students are just put into university halls, they're put into university and then they're left to their own devices and there's nothing there for them. But that's not the case here at Liverpool. We've got so many different departments who are all here to make sure that your time is as easy as possible. Obviously, you might not need to use all of them, and that's fine. But if you do need it, if you're ever in need of anything, then you've got that available. The likes of the financial support team, for example. So any advice on money that you need or any advice on grants or allowances that you might be entitled to, we've got the financial support team there for you to go and arrange a meeting with and have a chat with. So before you're moving in, obviously you need to apply for accommodation, and that's what will be happening next. So from winter onwards, so from around about November, December onwards, as long as you have an offer to study at the university, you don't need to have accepted it as your firm or insurance. As long as you've had that offer, you'll be sent an invitation to apply for accommodation. That will be sent to you via email. So it's really important that at this stage of the process, you need to make sure that the email address that's registered with the university is your own email address, and it's the most up-to-date one. Because what we have sometimes is students who, it's their mum and dad's email address, and then the invitation to apply gets missed, or it's an out-of-date email address, or it's a college email address, which obviously at the time is fine, but then when it comes to you getting your offers further down the line, if you've left college or school, then that email address is no longer going to be accessible, and you might miss out on your offers. So make sure it's your own email address, and make sure it's up to date so that you get that information. That's the most important thing I can say to you at this stage. So what you can do before then is research your hall. So as you've done today, come to the open days, come to the presentations, speak to the staff, speak to the student helpers that we've got around today, and go and see the accommodation. And what that'll do is basically inform you. You can decide pretty much which halls you want to go to, which halls you want to select. And then as soon as you get that invitation to apply, you can make your application online then. That's because date of application is one of the things taken into consideration when allocating accommodation. So the sooner you get your application in, the more chance you've got of getting one of your choices. So you apply for accommodation online. So you put all your personal details in, and then select you make 3 choices of accommodation. Now the 3 choices can be any of the 3 choices you see. So if you see have a look on the price lists we've got available for you, you're looking for a 39-week contract for first-year undergraduates, and any of the options you see on that list, that's what you can put down as a preference on your application form. So you can put more than one choice at one hall. So for example, at Vine Court, we've got several different room types. You could put all 3 at Vine Court if you wanted to, or you could vary them out over different locations and different halls. Give us as much detail as possible when you're making your applications as well. It's really important that when you're making your applications, if you've got any sort of medical information that you think might be useful at some stage, even if you don't think it will be useful, put it on your application form. And then if we need it, we've got that information then, and that means that we're in the best position to help you and make your time at the university as comfortable and as easy as possible. Some students think that they don't need to mention anything and that everything will be fine. But unfortunately, sometimes it's not, and support needs to be put in place further down the line. So the sooner you give us that information, the better, basically, and it just helps us to help you. And once you've made your application online, you will receive an email confirming that application's been received with a summary of your application as well. So make sure you receive that, keep an eye out for it, and if you don't receive that, make sure you contact the accommodation team. All the details are on the website because we need to make sure that your application's in and that there's no problems with it. So obviously, once you've made your application, you'll be waiting on your offers of accommodation. Now, the first group of students to receive their offers are those with an unconditional offer. So anyone who's deferred their place or has already got an unconditional offer, their place is confirmed, you'll receive an offer of accommodation shortly after applying for accommodation. So once we've got your application in, if we can see that you've got a confirmed place and we know you were expecting you in September, then we'll make you an offer of accommodation first. Then it's result-dependent offers, so anyone who's doing BTEC qualifications or A-levels or anything else, any tests or anything like that, once you've got your results and once your place at the university is confirmed, that's when you'll receive your offer of accommodation. So the most popular one is A-levels. So if you're waiting on A-level results, it'll probably be on the day of A-level results, that's when we'll send out your offer of accommodation. So it's a really busy time and there's loads going on, but make sure you keep an eye out for that email with your offer of accommodation at some point during the day. And then you can go online and accept that, because if you're getting your results then, and if you're getting your offer of accommodation then, you'll only have 48 hours to accept it, because it's quite a competitive time of year, and we need to make sure that we give everyone a fair chance of getting the accommodation. So make sure you accept it within the 48 hours, or if you've got any queries about it, contact the team. We're available all throughout the day, and we've got a call centre available for you, so we'll be able to take your call and deal with any issues. So if you're coming to the university on an insurance choice or you're coming through clearing, then we can't guarantee to be able to offer you accommodation, but usually we don't have a problem in doing so. I think out of the last 15 years, there's only been a couple of years where we weren't able to do so. So usually we can offer you accommodation, and if the university is your insurance choice, you should still get your application in before the A-level results come out. Basically, all that means is that if you then come to the university through an insurance choice, we've got the information to say, yeah, I want accommodation, and we know to offer you accommodation then, and everything's sort of a bit more of an automated process, and it just takes the pressure off, rather than you thinking at the time, oh, I need to make sure I get an application in for accommodation, as well as finding out you're going to Liverpool. So just make sure you prepare well in advance. If we can't offer you accommodation as an insurance or clearing student, then there's a company called Liverpool Student Homes who are based at the university, and they deal with private accommodation in Liverpool. So all the universities in Liverpool direct students to Liverpool Student Homes, and that's a service that's there for you to make sure that you're well looked after in the private sector as well. So once you've been made an offer, there's a 3-stage process to accepting your offer. So first things first, you'll receive an email telling you you've had an offer of accommodation and with a link to go online to view the offer. So you'll log in and then continue to your application and then go to the academic year that you're going to be coming to the university in and have a look under there, and you'll have a section saying your offer. You'll be able to view the offer, view the price, view the type of room you've got, and then you'll get your tenancy agreement. So it'll be an online version of your tenancy agreement, which is your contract. So when you fill in the details below and complete your online signature, that's you accepting the contract for the university halls. So it's a really important document. It is a long document, and it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but make sure you read it and make sure you clue yourself up, basically, because it puts you in the position of power then. Because if you know exactly what you're in for and sort of the terms and conditions of your stay, then you know exactly where where you stand then. You'll also have to pay a booking fee online. So this is a £150 payment. You do this as part, so once you've accepted your offer and you've signed your tenancy agreement, then you go back in and pay the booking fee. It's really important that you do this once you've accepted your offer as soon as you possibly can, because if you don't pay the booking fee after a period of about 7 working days, the university does reserve the right to be able to take that room off you because you haven't confirmed it with the booking fee. And if we need the rooms for other students, if we're oversubscribed, then we will be doing that. So it's really important that when you go on to view your offer, you make sure you get your card with you so you're ready to do everything in one go. After that, you will need to complete an online e-induction as well. Now, this is not needed as urgently as the first two. You can do that anytime before you arrive, basically. And what that is, it's basic health and safety questions, gets you in the mindset for moving out and living on your own and looking after yourself, and kitchen safety, fire safety, things like that. And then you've also got a bit of information on arriving at the university. So the block of your halls will be allocated an arrival day, and then you'll be able to choose an arrival slot on that day. Now, the arrival slots aren't set in stone, so if you say you're going to be there at 2 o'clock on the Saturday and you're on the way down and you're stuck in traffic or you end up leaving late, then there's no need to worry. We're not going to turn you away when you get here because you didn't arrive at 2 o'clock. You don't need to worry about that. You can turn up. It's just to sort of try and ease congestion and give the staff a bit of an idea of who's turning up when. So once you've accepted your offer, you'll then receive an arrival letter. So this is like a welcome letter from your hall. So it's from your hall manager. And it's really important because it's got all the contact information you need. So it's got all our contact information in the accommodation office, and it's got all the contact information on at the halls as well. So when you get to university and your parents and guardians have left you at the halls and you're on your own then, and you're in it for the long haul, you've got your contact sheet. Just keep that in your room, just as a backup. If you need to contact anyone, if you need to contact the reception, if you need to contact the residential advisors, you've got that sheet there with all the numbers on. And you can also join the Facebook groups. So we've got Facebook groups for all the different halls, and we've got Twitter as well for all the different halls. You can get involved on Instagram as well with the hashtag of your hall's names. Be sensible about it. Don't give away too much personal information or any room numbers or anything like that. But you can get involved and get to know who you're going to be living with, basically. So it's a really nice opportunity to sort of break the ice before you actually before you move in, so you haven't got too many awkward conversations for the first time. So obviously, once you've accepted your offer, is the matter of paying for your accommodation. All payments are made online now, and they're all done through the student fees department. So they take payments for tuition fees and for accommodation as well. You can do it in 2 different ways. You can either pay the whole lump sum by the end of October, or you can pay by 3 instalments throughout the year for undergraduates, and then it's 4 instalments for postgraduates. So the instalments are usually timed around November, then January, and then April. So there's a short delay after you've moved in for your first instalment, and then the second and third instalments are timed around the time of your student loan instalments, because we understand that some of the students decide to use that money for their accommodation. So this is just a brief overview of the cost. Now, I wouldn't worry about making a note of this because it's all online in much more detail, and you can pick up one of our fees price lists from the accommodation stand, which is in the main exhibition in Mountford Hall. And it is in much more detail with a better comparison, so you can see exactly what you're paying for different room types and for different locations, whether it's for catered or self-catered. So you've got the costs there. The 39-week contracts are the ones for first-year undergraduates, and there'll also be a £150 booking fee to pay as well. So what's included in your rent? Well, everything pretty much. You've got all fuel bills, all gas, electric, water, everything like that. You've also got a contents insurance cover through Ensley Insurance. So we've got information on that. If you go online, if you go to the documents section of the accommodation website, then you can have a look at the insurance policy and clue yourself up on that. If you've got any particularly valuable items, so if you've got any very valuable computers or instruments or cameras or phones or anything like that, you can actually top that service up online. So you can contact Ensley to top up the insurance to make sure all your belongings are covered. There's also high-speed internet provision included in all the rooms as well. So in the newer halls like Vine Court and Crown Place, it's all Wi-Fi. And then in the off-campus halls, in the older halls, it's cable connection, and the cables are provided for you as well. Obviously, also our catered students enjoy breakfast and evening meals 7 days a week. So you've got choice of a full English in the morning, or your breakfast, or your cereal, and then a 3-course meal in the evening. So that's all from me. Thanks very much for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day.